All right, I'm going further with this one, and so where I was going is that I think that um, so where I was going is that if you can appreciate lovers as both predator and prey to each other, predator and prey as lovers to each other, such as the relationship between a deer and a wolf, or a or two lovers, um, they are sustaining each other, and they are in a sense dying to each other and being reborn through each other, and life goes on. So it's actually maybe the greatest thing that you can do in life, maybe the greatest, even greater than enlightenment and having a legacy. The greatest thing in life is to die. That's the greatest thing you can do, because life comes from dying. It takes one thing to die for another thing to live. In a sense, as much as people would like to be like parents and stuff like that, in a way you die when you become a parent, in the greatest sense, because you surrender and you forfeit who and what you were before you became something different. You're reborn through one another. I think that's actually what people, I think that might actually be the dilemma of relationships, because I was talking to someone recently, and this person was she was talking about just a dilemma with a partner, and how they have different ideas about what they are to each other. They were both interested in each other. You could tell they're interested just by the way that they had engaged each other. They were interested in each other, but the one was having a different idea of what they are and could be than the other. And on the surface, like, sometimes people aren't looking for or thinking the thing that they're thinking when they're saying something. But so you if you imagine, like, imagine a woman, right? Or a man. So imagine you have a man, right? And the man has a girlfriend, and the man is he either wants he wants something with the woman, and the woman has interest in him, and she might have equal interest or even greater interest in him, but they both want something with the other one, but they don't want it the same way, on the same terms. And I think that you in life, there's really only losers in love. But that's actually why love is great, and why so love wins, but lovers lose. And um but love also loses, because love is lovers. So so in life, everyone loses in life. That maybe that's the biggest, that maybe that's the real. So when you get up to Saint Peter, and he's like, so so maybe that's how they can tell if you're going to heaven and hell, right? Because they get up to heaven and hell, and you're worried about if you're going to heaven and hell. Or if you've really had a hard enough life, man, you've already been through hell, man. You're not worried about hell. But if you're still here after all that hell, you must have been something of a good person to come through that hell and still feel like going through hell. So there's one, but the other one's like a little bit nervous, like, man, am I going to heaven or hell? So you must have had it easy enough to have enough license and fun to do enough bogus stuff, and still have a reason to keep doing bogus stuff and enjoy that, to wonder if you're going to go to heaven and hell. But the whole thing might have just been a practical joke where, man, everybody lost, man. Everybody's going to hell. You were already actually in hell, and you're not going nowhere. That's the practical joke. But the joy of that, if you can laugh at that, you had been honest enough, and that's heaven. If you can laugh at that point, when we all lost, and we all lost, and but if you can laugh, then you're in heaven. And if that's not funny, like, you were actually thinking you were still gonna get to have like fun, or you're still gonna be privileged, so you then it wouldn't be funny, and then that's really hell, because not even a practical joke is funny. Um, so sometimes people don't laugh at our jokes. It's like, dang, they're already in hell. but but all I meant to say is that so but within love, so what would you rather have? Would you rather live a long life and never fall in love, or would you rather live a crazy life, a short life, a hard life, but actually fall in love? I would want to fall in love. But with that is that how would you, there was a movie, So how do you know if it's really love? Like a lot of people have felt things like, I think I'm in love, but how would you know if it's really love? I think there's a movie in the 90s. I don't know the name of that movie. There's one movie where like a guy shows up at his girlfriend's house or his ex-girlfriend's like with a boombox playing love songs, and that was like really troubling for the girl and as an image. But there was an even deeper movie in the 90s where a guy's like, man, I want to die together. And that would be like so sketchy. Like that would be like a lot of women would already. I don't know how a person that feels like that could actually get to the point of saying that if the woman didn't feel similar, because she would have bounced way before that if he was thinking like that, and so much as double texted her at they had text back then, because a lot of women are up out of here. But what I meant to say before is that, so sometimes when two lovers are having a conflict, what the conflict is, it's not actually the terms of the love, but it's the fact that neither one of them, they're interested in each other, but what they're recognizing is that they are not compelling enough to the other one for the other one to risk or to want to change from the relationship, to be reborn. So you want to make love to the woman, but you don't want to be reborn through her. That's offensive to a woman, because then she hasn't truly compelled you. She hasn't truly won you over. And then, so therefore, she doesn't truly feel as attractive as she would like to feel, because she hasn't really compelled you to be a real lover at that point. You're not a real lover to her yet. You want to make love to her, but you haven't become a real lover. Because if you're a real lover, it's up out of here. It's all or nothing. It's past the point of no return. In the book Oh by Daisetsu Suzuki, they said that the samurai, they actually appreciate an aesthetics around death, and they like sudden, they like profound death. They like a death that's like that's like poetic, or that's just that says something. Because if it's gonna be forever, it might as well say something. So they like profound, um they like that as an aesthetic in Japanese art, the samurai. But I think that if a person really has actually won you over, if a woman has won you over, or if it's really love, like you imagine Romeo and Juliet, right? So in the spirit of Romeo and Juliet, or like the West Side Story, they're taking life and death chances to upset their family to be together, or accept the norms of that society to be together. And in that spirit, they would as soon die for the opportunity of one night together, of one day together, of one moment together. So for that moment to last forever, can this moment last forever? Can we die right here, or can this moment be forever? Is this moment forever? That's what love is. So when that guy was saying that, like, I want to die together, that guy mentioned in that film. It'd be cool if if I actually could figure out what film that was. Most women are not trying to meet you there, but a lot of men are not trying to meet women there all either. And that's what's so, for a man, that's how life feels, is that we feel more about people than they feel about us, for a lot of men. But for women, it can be sometimes, not always, but sometimes, as tragic, when it's like, here's this man that wants something with me, that wants intimacy that wants eroticism with me, but he doesn't really want to be reborn through me into me. He doesn't actually want to die for me or with me. That's what the regret is. It's not that he was too lighthearted or too serious, it's that he didn't actually want to. He didn't he. So if you were too serious, it meant you weren't lighthearted enough to die. You weren't careless enough to die if you were too serious. So that's also yet, that's not real enough yet. So it has to be a little bit lighthearted, but also fatal to be true love. It has to be like you're content to die together, because that's how much of a thrill you are to one another, and that's love. But that's also deep, because that's actually what life is that we die. That part of life is dying. But dying is not murder, because there's still rebirth through dying, like love, like the wolf and the deer. How many wolf have deer eaten by this point? How many deer have starved by the evasion of wolf, by how many wolves have died by the starvation of the evasion of deer? Yet they're so both with us, because they got through that. But overconsumption, genocide, needless killing, conscious killing, that's what's murder. Because then life's not viable through that. That's not natural. That's what's not being a man.